Right, good morning and welcome to the today's meeting of the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board. Just a reminder that I hope you've all signed in this morning on the little COVID app. We had a lady here last meeting to remind us, and that was only level 1, so thank you very much. We start off with a public forum this morning where those that have come to talk about their issues have between 3 and 5 minutes to speak about their topic. If you're here for a funding application, we'll give you a little bit longer, up to 10 minutes. And what I'll do this morning, I'll talk about 2 things. Firstly, we're streaming on YouTube today so just to let you know that you are live on video. And the second thing is just to remind you, and there seems to be a misunderstanding right across the nation, right across the spectrum. Spectrum is the wrong word. The Community Board is a separate organisation to Council. It's a separate part of the Local Government Act. So we're somewhat constrained in what we can do when it comes to the areas of Council. And it's more about advocacy and representation more than it is about any decisions that we can make. So with that in mind, if there are any people angry at the service or the state of the roads, we'd love to help, but it's not our fault. So let's start. David, would you like to come up and have your chat?
Thank you, buddy. Yeah. I'm Dave Kutesi, right? Everybody's getting annoyed with these kids that are riding around the street, daytime wheel stands in front of you. The police are doing nothing about it. Because I can tell you, one day I came back home, police in front of me, this kid did a wheel stand in front of the police and the police just ignored him. So I chased the police up the road and I said, what are you going to do about it? You chase them. It's not our job, it's your job. And one night I was going out at midnight, they were down the roads with no lights on, screaming around. I rang 111 because they were robbing. Police never came out. My boy went down the road at 9 o'clock at night in his car. He was doing wheel stands in front of them, went to the police. They said, oh, why aren't you wearing your glasses? And then Dylan Robertson, he's a sergeant at Kaikohe. Now, he had no right of doing that. I went and saw him about his son riding the push bike on the footpath. He said, I haven't told him to ride on the footpath. Why? Too many idiots riding up and down the road in cars. So what are the police doing about it? Can't the community board find some finance, employ a warden to do it every day? Now, at the moment, somebody has gone on Facebook, warned the people there's no bikes roaming around. They'll stand outside the shops. Sean will probably tell you, 4 or 5 kids riding the way, they want you to go into the shops. Then they try to get your money. What can you guys do about it? Can the community do something about it?
Okay, so can I ask you some questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so I understand that we have very limited ability to instruct anybody, but I do understand that the council has a bylaw about bicycles.
Yes, I understand that. Yeah.
So obviously, if they've got a bylaw, they've got the ability to enforce. So I suggest you need to put it. And I know you were told to come and see me by the staff. Okay, or by the community board. We are probably the wrong place. It was the wrong advice. So I suggest. And I'll support you in this. I suggest you probably need to go back to the counter and ask to put an RFS for the enforcement of the bike bylaw.
Yeah.
I'm just saying these are probably a better. This is a better chance of you getting it resolved than coming to us. I'm just saying, and also the mayor. Okay, the mayor is particularly interested in community-led councils.
Yeah.
Okay, so the mayor will be only too pleased to receive your comments, and especially since there is a bike bylaw and it's in the council rag.
Yeah, I know it is. It's a bylaw, and you guys should be doing something about it. It's been going on too long, buddy.
Okay, so we're not the council. We're the community board. Okay, it's the council you need to go to.
Okay, so if I could ask you, what happens if you bowl a kid and they do a wheel stand on you? What actually happens there? The police have told me that any of us that do that are in fault. The kids are not. That is not the point. This town is lawless. And what they're saying is at night, the cars have got to stay home. Give the kids the right for the streets and the roads. No way. Our job, we've got to reach the vehicle. There's no lights on those bikes or anything. They shouldn't be on the road at all.
Okay.
They should be impounded.
Okay. Are there any other questions for David? Okay.
Yeah, what you guys think about it, and the kid's going up, I will actually bowl a kid, and we'll see what happens, all right? That's what's going to happen, mate, because we're going down the road, my boy has to brake because they nearly hit the back front of our car. And the police say, if we hit them, we're liable. You know, everybody would check. Kaikohe is getting sick of the police. It is a lawless town. It's got to be done something about it. And you guys should get involved and do something about it. It's the council's job to look after Kaikohe and make sure that the police are doing their job. And you guys are not, you're not ready to, you guys are more or less turning your heads away a lot. See, all this goes on Facebook and the people keep the kids home. When it's finished, they let them out again. That's the worst thing, bringing Facebook in on this.
Okay.
You guys have got to get with the police, communicate with the police and do something. Because it's getting frustrated, man, I'm telling you. Okay. You can't go down the road and the kids are at you all the time.
Okay, any questions? Moko?
Obviously, I understand where you're coming from, and it is frustrating. This is the only kaupapa where we know our police are not stepping in or not enforcing or are simply under-resourced to do so or whatever the reasons are. So I definitely understand that. Other than, do you have any, obviously coming to us and seeing what we could do, and I suppose as a community board we could write a letter to the police so we can do our side of things, follow up with council in terms of enforcing our bylaw, look at maybe putting funding to a bike safety film that could be shot by our youth themselves or something like that. So we've got some solutions there. Other than that, do you have any other solutions that you've thought of or you think might actually work for our town?
Apparently they reckon there's a camera outside Westpac. There's cameras there. And what I said to you guys, my suggestion is people spoke to me, get the council fund a warden to do it. And otherwise, people can't be down there 24 hours a day. People have got to sleep. And you go down, if you want to go out at 2 o'clock in the morning, you go down the street, all these kids are with you standing in front of you. And what do? You go to the police, oh, don't worry about it, they're only kids. You know, and you know, not being horrible, but a lot of these people have got a lot of excuses for saying, oh, you chase them, we're not at chasing, but they fall over, we're responsible. No, we're not. And I think you guys better pull your heads together and go and talk to the police and do something about it. Because I've been to the advocating that about it, I've taken it further than this. And I'm getting frustrated. One day I will actually bowl a kid and then I'm in the shit. I'll lose my license, could go to jail. And then the parents will attack me. And the police do nothing, they sit back and laugh. Same as the motorbikes. They don't even pick the motorbikes up. I was spoken about burnouts and they said, we decide which car we're going to impound. Now that is not the law. The law is if you do loss of traction, your car gets, if you have a burnout, both cars get impounded, not just one.
Cool. Okay, right, thank you, David.
That's what I've got to tell you guys. So
thank you.
I've got to go now. Thanks very much. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Rachel, you're on. Now you can
Apologies for having my back to you.
Rachel, you can either stand there or stand over here because some people like to be there so they can be heard by everybody.
Perfect.
Or you can sit down.
No. Morena Koutou. Councillor Tiffany, would you like to join me?
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to just let me stay seated over there.
So good morning, everybody. Thank you for having us. We will try and keep it as brief as possible. In front of you, you have a written proposal from us, which I'm hoping you've had a chance to digest. So we'll keep it brief and then open it to any questions in the hope that we can get cracking with this. So Mayor's Task Force for Jobs is a collective network of mayors and councillor delegates working across New Zealand together with the vision of having all young people in New Zealand under the age of 25 being engaged in appropriate education, training, work or other positive activity in their communities. Councillor Tepanera and myself are privileged to be delegated to that network of mayors by our own mayor, Mayor Carter, with Local Government New Zealand. As you can see in front of us, in front of you, an opportunity has come up for scholarships for each council that participates in Mayor's Task Force for Jobs to nominate young people, put them forward for a scholarship opportunity to attend a 21-day course Outward Bound in various parts of the country. Outward Bound shares a similar kaupapa to the kaupapa that we have with Mayor's Task Force for Jobs, in that they have the same ambitions for young people. So it's a really, really good fit. These scholarships are valued at around $3,600, but there is an expectation that any young people who are successful in their nomination will be committed to raising a portion of $800 plus their travel costs in fundraising. When this opportunity came to us, we saw that as a barrier for some of our young people across the far north, especially acknowledging the travel cost side of things and the distance that they may have to travel. So we saw a bit of a partnership opportunity, knowing that you guys also share a similar vision with how we can be supporting our young people in our communities and ensuring that they have equitable opportunities in front of them, considering the challenges we face up here. So in front of you, you have a bit of a pitch. How can you help? We would love to partner with you guys in this process. We have 3 wards across the district. It's no secret that we struggle to represent all 3 of those wards at any given time. It's a really big area to cover, and so we really rely on a relationship with our community boards. In terms of the financial commitment, we're looking for a commitment from you guys to support financially if a nomination from your ward is successful in receiving a scholarship. And in turn, we would like to offer a partnership opportunity for you guys to nominate a community board member to sit on the selection panel with us, so that we will then open up engagement, call for nominations, and go through a selection process with the ambition to have 1 young person from every one of our wards in the far north put forward for this opportunity. So that's probably really just summed up what's already in front of you. We're really stoked to hear that the Community Board supported this yesterday at their community board meeting, and they have nominated member John Stewart to be part of the selection process, with an agreement that they will be on with the financial commitment on board with that. We're really keen to get this cracking as soon as possible. The nomination process is really on a first in, first served basis with Local Government New Zealand. So the sooner we can get our nominations in, the better. In the interest of agile bureaucracy, we're trying some different ways and outside the box to get that engagement going and to try and get the process wheels in motion as soon as possible. The key thing that I really want to highlight is this project isn't dependent on your support. We will make it happen one way or another, but we really see a great opportunity to share the vision that you guys have and we have for our young people, and to partner on some of those outcomes. So on that, unless Councillor Tepene has anything to add.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smith. That was actually a really great summary. Esteemed members of the Kaikohe-Hokianga board, if I could just talk to some of the real benefits of the Outward Bounds course. We're lucky enough at Te Kura Kaupapa Māori or Kaikohe that Outward Bound offers us 2 placements, fully subsidised for the course fee, and our kura comes in and pays the travel for that. I know that this is a huge opportunity for the potential for us to take advantage of for a $12,000 worth of course fees that Mayor's Task Force for Jobs will pay for far north youth to attend this. The bridge gap there is $749 towards the course plus the travel. That fee, that cost, is just simply a barrier that will mean that we don't even get any nominees. By saying, if you apply to this, you're guaranteed a spot to go down to this. The students in the past that we've sent from our kura to this program have come back, and it's been life-changing for them. Life-changing in their outlook, life-changing in their learning behaviours, life-changing in their leadership at our own kura. So if we were to send a student from Kaikohe-Hokianga down there, I know that they're going to come back and recontribute what they've learned to our community in ways more than what $749 from this community board contribution, plus the travel to get them down there and back. So I know that this is probably I can't recall any other time that we've taken up this offer from Mayor's Task Force for Jobs, because that 749 bridge gap has just been too much to think about or try to find a process. So I really do want to thank Councillor Smith for finding a way for us to try and get through this. It is first in, first served, so it's almost a guarantee that if we all nominate, each ward nominates 3 youth, and we're going to bridge that funding, those 3 youth are going to be going down to the top of the South Island, COVID pending, I guess, to take part in this program.
Kia ora.
Okay,
Questions?
we'll go through. We'll give one question each, but I'll start. So the amount is 749 plus
Travel.
Okay, so that's in the order of $1,200 all up. Okay, and this is a question for you and Catherine. This will have to go through a standard application procedure. Is that how it works?
That's a good question. This is the first time hearing of it.
No, it's okay. But from a purely procedural point of view.
If someone's applying for money from the community board, then yeah.
Okay. So
Federal Task Force Jobs, or those ones don't usually have that.
Okay, so there's that. But what I want to say now is that depending on the questions that we get from the floor, you'll get a good indication of whether something's going to be successful and you can commit to it. Okay, so Kat, your turn.
I've got no questions.
Okay, not even a comment?
Yeah.
Okay, Laurie.
No, thank you. Well done. It's a great idea.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I've got a question that's probably fired at different here, and that is Councillor Smith mentioned that you wanted one representation from the community board, and you're a member of the community board, but I take it given your role, you're looking for somebody else. Is that right? Or would you suffice to be that person as well?
Unless someone else was interested in being a part of that, I could wear both hats.
Yeah. Okay, so you seem a good candidate. And the second thing there is, I think I was a question about 1200 done. You heard David mention they had a passionate plea for the youth in the town here. And is it limited to one person? I'm just thinking about you've got the Kurukapa, you've got some coming over there, and so you're looking for just the one, or can we say there may be an option of having two?
I think for this first year where we're trying this, and it is a trial to see if it could work. Usually I think districts only actually nominate one, so we're looking at nominating 3, 1 from each ward. But I guess if this community board would look at bridging that finance for more than one, that is something we could actually look at.
So the response we've had from LGNZ is there are no limitations to the number that a council would put up. I think what Mokwa has said is really good in that. In the initial stage, because there is no deadline to these applications, in the initial stage we would aim to put one up from every ward to ensure the best success for those. And then if we see further opportunity to put more up and there are still placements available, then by all means, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, so I'll send support.
I think it's a marvellous idea, and thank you to the two of you for your presentation. As a recently retired teacher, I know that Broadwood Area School also provided for one person to go each year to Outward Bound. Have you actually inquired into the schools within within this district, especially secondary schools, whether they provide for one student?
I know that it's at the kura, we like to keep it quiet that Outward Bound actually secretly gives us 2, so we don't really, now it's on YouTube. So I don't know if schools would want to show their hand per se for fear of losing a placement, because you know that the school down the road isn't getting 2 placements, but I don't know what the answer is really to that issue.
I don't think the schools will be shy to say that, we don't provide or we didn't provide.
For this avenue, so there are Outward Bound does provide scholarships to schools, and schools usually fill in the travel gap for the funding. This specific scholarship for this is through the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs, where councils have to nominate. So it's not through a school, it's through the council to nominate towards that. And then a part of it is that it's not a full scholarship. There is that $749 bridge gap plus the travel, which is why we're going through this process to go through it, rather than directly through schools or through the ministry or anything like that.
A second question, and I presume that the students that we will support, or student that we will support, will come from an area where they don't have a lot of money. You know, come from a family they don't.
And that will be up to the selection committee, who will look at the different nominations that come in to select someone. And it's because it is the first time we're doing this, we're going through all of those sorts of processes and how we're going to scrutinise the nominations that come through. But it might be an occasion there, if you're interested, by Emma, for you to represent the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board at that table.
Ellen.
I support your initiative, and I think it's a good self-esteem building course and leadership qualities for those children, and I've attended one in the past and found it valuable. Thank you.
Yeah, by the sounds of it, there are quite a few people that are able to go from the far north area, from various schools through various other opportunities. Do you have any idea how many people from the far north are actually going to these Outward Bound?
I think it's fair to say this opportunity came to us on Thursday last week, so we've kind of just been flying on the seat of our pants, if we can be entirely honest, and trying to get the best outcomes for our young people in that time frame. Those are definitely conversations that we intend on having over the course of the next few months, though, as we learn more about the opportunities within the role that we have, and that includes talking to not only our schools, but Outward Bound, these courses are for 16 to 25-year-olds, and that's a really interesting age group for our rangatahi in the far north because of the amount of travel that a lot of them do, but then the lack of opportunities for the ones who choose not to go away or can't go away for various reasons. So it's a good question and one that we will explore.
If I can finish too, just based off of that, this is an opportunity for our council to take advantage of the $3,600 scholarships that are on offer, and I would rather that the far north be able to take advantage of $3,600 3 times over than another council with other youth. So I would like, we do have amazing opportunities for school-aged youth to do this program. Like Rachel said, though, this is up to 25-year-olds too, so we can broaden that scope of those nominations to take advantage of this. And if I can just close, I know that Te Hiku Community Board have already looked at this favourably, and you'll remember that they one-upped us on the life caravan by $1. So I would hate for us to not show support to this when Te Hiku Community Board already
Ask another question.
Right. Ken has had a special relationship with Outward Bound, so and he's just tilted his head in my direction. So unusually, Ken, do you have a?
I was just going to offer an answer to Lily. The Northland's underrepresented compared to most other areas in New Zealand in terms of the students that make it. At the end of 2019, there was a special group that was taken from Northland to an Outward Bound course, and they all graduated the course. Just one other question, Mr. Chairman, if the board goes ahead with this, would they like some assistance for the selection panel from a former director of the Outward Bound school?
Okay, well, what we can talk about that later offline, Kim. Okay.
Yes, to that, and if it goes through the normal funding, our youth will report back to this community.
Okay, Louis, final.
Yeah, the other question I had was like, okay, you've got the Te Hiku's already supported this. How did they get the funding through? Have you got the funding through their processes?
So I think what we're asking for is a commitment from you guys. It's not. We're not asking for you to give us the money today. It's dependent on that process. So they, I'm not entirely sure on the process that they followed exactly yesterday. I wasn't able to attend their meeting, but Aisha might be able to, or Kim might be able to fill us in more. Aisha's not here at the moment.
So let me fill you in on that. Okay. I presume you'll have to. You can work with Catherine, but I presume you'll have to bring an application.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we can't predetermine our outcome because that would be predetermination. But I imagine probably from our discussion here, you probably got a fairly good answer to your question.
Yeah, I think it's really important to point out that part of that process is to ensure that the young person selected has the opportunity to learn about the fundraising components and things, and that's something that we will definitely support them in. We saw this as a really good supportive way to put it to our young people and say, hey, we've got your backs. The community boards have got your backs. Whatever that process looks like, that's down to you guys with your standing orders. But I'm sure that you will find a way.
Actually, it's down to you guys with your procedural, your policy regarding community funding. So yes, thank you and good luck and
Fantastic. Thank you. Legend. Have a good day, everybody.
Mr. Riley, would you like to join us?
First, I have some sympathy with the incident with bike riding. But I'll give you some good news. Yesterday, 3 bikes barreling down the footpath. I stepped out to grab them, stopped them, and I get hassled. And miracles of miracles, there's a cop there to watch this. And she does something about it. But they have a go at her too. But they know, and something will happen. It was good. It just couldn't have happened better. And witnesses inside the shop window saw it all unfold. And I got a cup of tea out of it because of my trauma. It was one of the best things that happened for a long, long time.
And now you've confessed on nationwide and international TV. Excellent.
But I went to my residents' meeting last night, and they had 3 issues. I noticed in the first one, the road name is in the agenda today, it'll be dealt with, and it is universally approved. The bridge railing over the Peka stream, nothing has yet happened. Sure, it's a state highway, but the district council can do something, and it could do with a little bit of waiting lead on it. A month's gone by since this was first raised, over a month. Nothing's happened. It's not good enough. Kids walk past that place every day. Footpath to the rugby club. Something has yet to happen on that, and they would like to know some progress. And there's still a little bit of concern about the water. What could happen if a dam breaks? That dam is in the wrong place. If, as I understood or been told, it was on hold, then maybe some consideration should be given urgently to putting the dam up where it should have been put in the first place, up at the end of Hillcrest Road. You don't have to pump water anywhere, it'll gravitate. It's a 20-year-old issue that should have been addressed long ago.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, can we ask questions?
Yes.
Okay. Firstly, I'll just clarify the bridge across the state highway.
Yes. It's
okay. So that's subject of to an RFS. I mean, surely the community board is not the only place the only people that know about this.
Yeah, I think that the fact that it's been drawn to attention and nothing's been done about it, that is of some concern.
Not really, Sean, because I mean, what we need to do is we need to make sure that the proper processes have been followed, so that at least we know that it's in the system, right? So, is there an RFS? Is there a letter to the council? To councillors, to the CEO? Does anybody know about except for us, about the bridge?
That I wouldn't know. I'll go back and ask Tracy.
Well, even if you want to put in an RFS as you leave about it, so that at least it gets in the system and somebody can look at it.
Yep.
And similarly about the footpaths, what's that about? To the rugby club?
Sealed footpath to the rugby club and to the preschool. They're both directions from the centre of the town.
Okay, so that's also part of an RFS, because what happens there is there's as you know, there's the footpath matrix that gets reviewed every few years. So if there's if that's been subject to an RFS by the community, then that will be on the matrix for consideration. So do you want to at least ask whether those things have been put through the proper processes, and we can follow them up.
And just while I'm here, this happened in my Cold Books day There's a piece of roadside that is not mown down on the end of Court Road, the end of Station Road. It's in the contract, hasn't been mowed and should be. That is something that I think that the Chief Executive Officer could look at with some concern, because a contract is a contract. If it comes to mow the roadside, it should be done properly.
Okay, any further questions for Sean?
Yeah, you partly addressed it. I was going to ask you put in complaints to NZTA with regard to the bridge. It is state highway, so they need to know. Can you put in an RFS to them, or if they call a complaint to them, there is an opportunity to do that on their website?
I'll follow that up, make sure that something's happened. Yep. Thank you.
And stay careful out there with all those bicycles, will you, Sean?
Yeah,
Stay careful out there in front of all those bicycles.
or that riding those bikes up a footpath like a red rag to bull to me, I just do not like it. Because somebody one day will get hurt. But
Apparently they did.
was a lovely experience to have the cop on the dog right at the right time.
And a free cuppa.
Thank you, Sean. Charmaine, would you like to join us? Charmaine? Yep.
Kia ora. I know you've got a copy of my my rating letters, and this is to do with our roads in Otawa. I would like the council to do something about it. We've had 3 accidents on our road. We've even just about had lost a bus full of grandchildren in it. Our roads are really dangerous. We need the council to do something. And you've got a right of what I've put, that everyone's put down on this paperwork about our school bus. And not only that, the ceiling on our roads, the big potholes on our roads. You can put 3 bodies in one pothole and go along the other pothole. You can put 4 in there, 4 bodies, or you can put a whole truck in there. That'll fill up the potholes. Okay? And not the only thing there is speeding on our roads. These logging trucks, dust carries miles. I've got a whānau here that even gets her house covered with the dust, and she stays miles away from the road, and that's how far the dust goes. It's killed all our plantation, all our fruit trees, all our gardens, all been killed. And I've got a lot to say. It's just, we need our road to be done ASAP. And what I'm going to do, and the whole valley's going to do, we're going to give you to the end of the week to give us an answer. We don't get an answer by the end of the week, we're going to close the road down. No, we're going to close it down. There'll be nobody coming through, all going out. So I'd like the council to do something about it, before something really happens.
Okay, right. Can we ask?
Drastic happens.
Can we ask you some questions, please?
Yeah, we go.
Okay, right. We've got questions for Charmaine. Emma.
Thank you, Charmaine, and I know you spoke to us earlier today. The logging trucks are supposed to wet the roads as they come through. Are they doing that or?
No.
Okay, and are the logging trucks using the road where the bridge is? You know, we got that bridge fixed.
No.
They're not using that?
No.
Okay.
They're using the same bridge that they shouldn't be using. It's really dropped. Now, if a school bus is going to go on in another couple of months, they're going to end up in the creek. The logging trucks don't even use the bridge where they're supposed to be using.
Okay, we'll take members of the community board out, we'll take photographs and then send and bring them back.
Right.
Oh, that'd be lovely, if you do it today, because tomorrow they'll probably seal it.
Yeah.
Or they'll probably put some metal in some holes.
Louis.
Yeah, I've been up that road and looked at all the problems with the dust and the loss of all the gardens. and people actually having to buy water for their houses because they can't take the water from the rain from their roofs. Now, at that stage, the Kahangareia had also been closed. Is that open again?
Yes. Oh, we don't want it to open, because it's unsafe. Very unsafe.
And the Kahangareia is right by the road.
Right next to the road.
And the dust just goes straight onto the
It covers the whole kohanga.
So, yeah, I can understand your plight. Hopefully we'll be able to do something about it. We tried last time. But yeah.
I need it done,
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah.
It would be, if you've got photos, it'd be interesting to see.
Oh, I've got photos on me, but I won't go up anywhere on your screen.
Bodies lying in a pothole, that would be quite an embarrassment.
Oh, I fit one body in there. I needed to fit 5 other bodies to fill a pothole up.
Okay, right. Any more questions? I've got a question. Okay. Now, Charmaine, I'd like to make some statements, but my rules are so I'll see if I can rephrase my statements as questions. Firstly, do you know who Willie Mahi is? Willie Mahi is sitting behind you?
He's behind me.
And did you know that he's an expert in closing off roads and forcing the council to tar seal the road? Okay, so there may so I don't know, there may be some advice to be had from him offline. Okay, and did you also know that the council has a road sealing matrix?
Hey.
Yes, they do. So there is a road sealing matrix. It's top secret. Okay. It is. I tried to ask them for the other day, and they said, "Sorry, sir, it's top secret." But they do have a road sealing matrix, and I imagine that maybe what you can do is you can simply ask for it. Can please survey the road sealing matrix? You're entitled to it, unless there's a legal reason why you can't. And maybe we can find out where Otawa Road is on that matrix. So, but look, we all support you. So
will you support me?
Oh, look, we understand.
Yeah.
We do.
So, Mr. Chair, you finished with those remarks, great. No, I just have a quick question though. I see you said 3 accidents, and I read the report with sort of growing horror. The size of the potholes, and that is not the normal standard of our road, so that ought to be being looked at as part of the natural road maintenance. But I have a question in terms of, I couldn't read that number. Is it 3 accidents, or it looked like 5? It looked like 6. Is it only 3 accidents?
Might have gone up by now.
Yeah, now that's in the, so that, and I was going to ask you, how many accidents, like obviously it's a dangerous road, so are there accidents being recorded and the near misses being recorded? Because it's really important to do that.
Yes, sir.
And then over.
Even got letters for it, bro. And put it into them.
Yep, and that's probably what I'll be asking you for, and over the period of time recording that so that we get a good picture of it. So how many people, because I know Otawa Valley there is actually quite a busy valley with many dairy farms and, and forestry and residents, and you know, you got a school.
You name it.
How many people live on that road that have been affected by this traffic and logging trucks? Any idea?
More than 100 anyway.
More than 100?
Yep.
Yeah, greater than 100, so yeah, thank you. That's really my questions, and I'll come out and I want to take some pictures as well.
Oh, that'd be lovely. Would you be able to come out today?
I'll go. We could.
So tell you what, if you come tomorrow, they might fill out the potholes everywhere.
Yeah, I'll come out today.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Do I have to come in a vehicle that's crash proof? It sounds like it's quite
You have to, you got to bring out a big truck, because you might fall in the other hole.
At least the truck can fill the hole.
Any further questions, Charmaine?
Any more?
You've actually made a statement here, which is 1, 2, 3, number 4. You've actually said that we've tar sealed where Pākehā live.
Yeah, you got that right.
We haven't tar sealed that whole road.
Nah.
What makes you say?
Oh, there's tar seal over there, and there's parking area over there, and there's a parking over there. They put a tar seal over there, but they can't do the loop, though, eh? With all that money they wasted doing those two, why couldn't they do the loop where the school bus and the kohanga will use?
What length is that loop? Sorry, Mr. Chair, I just got one quick question.
How big is that loop?
Roughly, how many kilometres is that loop?
Whew.
5, eh?
15, 15 kilometres, I don't know. That's the loop.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Are you sure? Are you going to help us?
I've got Emmy here. She's with the goes.
I'd love to have an answer, bro, because it's not very good.
Like I said, it's where we started, we're the community board, which has very little say about where the roads and so forth go. So, but all we can do is do what we're doing and pass it through. And we've got 2 councillors here who have a damn sight more power than the community board does. So we're going to support you, but we're not the only place that...
We'll do our utmost.
We don't have that decision-making skill, so ability. So we'll try.
So, will I have a good answer by the end of Friday?
Sitting over here is the CEO of the Far North District Council.
Where?
Right there. He's the smart one.
So what are you going to do, bro?
We've got a pretty good offer here, which is extraordinary. You have, first of all, we've got 1,850 kilometres of metal roads that all produce dust. And I think you know that none of us like paying the rates. Sure as I don't want to pay any more rates. That's the way to fix the roads. Just hear me out.
Yep.
Just charge more rates and then fix more roads. So my tough job, and I'm quite unpopular for it, you might know about that, is I've got to make really tough decisions about how much rates to charge for how many roads to fix. So one of the things that we did to help us is we wrote all the roads down, and every one of them, we counted how many people live on it, how far back from the road they are, how dusty the road is, whether it's got a kura on it, whether it's a tourist street, a whole lot of things. And we scored every road on all of those things. And we came out with a ranked list that says this one is the road that most deserves the work. And this one is the least deserves the work. So on that list, I don't know where it is because I haven't looked up all time, but on that list, your road is ranked. And every year,
it's in the top 20.
Yeah, the top 20.
In the top 20. Now that is also excellent news because you've got the attention of the engineers. It's in the top 20. But I reckon it's probably 5 or 10 each year that are getting some treatment. And then some bits and pieces like we've got dust suppressant. We don't seal the roads, but we can calm the dust down by spraying the stuff on, right? It's by spraying water on, but it lasts a bit longer. But it's the top ranking ones that get treated because then we run out of money. And either I go and charge you more rates or I say that's it for the year. Those ones are done, let's look at next year. That's the process we go through. But because you came in today and you made quite a good appeal, what you've got here is a council member, and John Versich, who's going to come out and have a look at what you're talking about. When he comes back and talks to me and other elected members, we pull this list out and we make sure that we've got it right.
Oh, okay.
Because there's mistakes in there, so we'll probably, depending on what we hear from the council, we'll probably at least review the list.
That matrix, if I can just add to it, as Sean was saying, that's based on the best information we've got. And over time, things change. So I'll grab that matrix, and when I come out there, I'll just make sure those parameters, i.e. other people obviously on the roads, and get some sort of about that fits.
But thank you very much, Dave.
But I tell you what, bro, you come out, could you let me know?
Yeah.
So some of us can come out and come out with you on the road. So you're actually looking at the road. You got to do.
Yeah, I've got your phone number, so I'll ring you when we get here.
Yeah, any latest stuff, and then I guess.
That's free.
Yeah, looking at it.
Boy? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Charmaine.
Thank you, April. Thank you very much.
One more question.
When we came out there last time, the road was being watered by the forestry companies, and I think that was one of their requirements, that they keep the dust down near the houses. Are you saying, are they still doing it, or are you saying
no,
not doing it?
No.
How long have they been doing it?
Oh, really?
So they applied the dust suppressant?
Yeah, that was last year.
Okay. Well, when we came out,
It was last year, bro.
They only do it before they apply the dust suppressant. After that, it's just dust suppressant.
so is the dust suppressant not working there?
No, bro, it's still like the rocks are sharp, eh?
Yeah.
Like sharp.
Okay.
When you put that stuff on there, it makes the rocks sharp. And you drive over, you walk over those. I walked over those bare feet, mate.
Okay. Yeah, I don't understand how the process works.
Great. Okay, thank you, Charmaine.
Oh, you sure? No, you think? Oh, okay, right.
Okay, great stuff.
There's a blast.
So I'll hear by the end of the week.
Through the chair, Mike, since you mentioned that guy named Willie Wayne.
Yes, I'll let you talk.
That guy there, he's a man of his word. If he'll come out, he'll come out.
You are, John?
Okay, thank you, William. Okay, just a statement, apparently the loop has been measured at 10 kilometres long. Hashem.
The first part of my presentation deals with failures of governance and procedure within the Far North District Council. And
just hold on, Shem. Sorry, we're just having a bit of tough time hearing Shem, so can you...
Does that alarm mean anything?
I'm going to check 911, please.
Somebody's car.
It's parked outside.
Yeah, the first part of my presentation deals with failures of governance and procedures in general, ongoing within the Far North District Council, and to do with the Broadwood footbridge. And notes that there will be a continued need for community board support and advocacy because of these continued failures and the nature of them. And then I go on to the business case, which it ends with a request for support with Te Aranga Māori design principles being applied to the bridge. So the business case points are: one, the bridge's status under section 140 of the LGA. We have NZTA's monetised benefits and costs manual and their non-monetised benefits manual adding to the case. But because of changes in expectation of accessibility, safety and inclusivity, the cost will be far more than that in the depreciation fund. And contributions from the district as a whole will be needed. Therefore, the bridge should have benefits for the district as a whole. A reconfiguration of the same bridge materials can achieve the benefits of point 3 and 5, that is safety, accessibility and inclusivity, and being of benefit to the whole district as a whole. And by doing this, we will have a benefit similar to that of the Footpaths toilets, but it will require meaningful co-design with children and early and meaningful co-design with mana whenua using Te Aranga Māori design principles. Now, I feel that at the moment in Broadwood, I'm living in a foreign culture, foreign country. And I'd rather have it be more New Zealand.
All right, questions? I have a question. Section 140 of the Local Government Act refers to endowment property, which actually, in this case, property means real property of every type and includes every type of estate and interest in property. It doesn't necessarily mean, as we might say, things that we own that aren't land.
Sorry, a legal definition of endowment property includes the buildings and the trees and whatever is on that land.
Okay.
There is not that definition, that is not a definition within the Act. There is no definition of endowment property within the Act, but there is legal definition elsewhere.
Okay, thank you.
So, I do have a question. That swing bridge there, when I was looking at it, so you spoke to me last time, when I looked at it, it looked a bit odd. And that was after, I think some contractors tried to repair it. I would expect that there would be instead of being level and flat, I saw a picture somewhere, that it would actually...
We got pictures on there.
Have it would be stretched out, because I use a swing bridge, you've got the ropes on the top and you've got that at the bottom. So I'm just wondering if that actually, the repair, so can you fill me in really quickly, whether that repair has worsened it or not?
It's outside of the Building Act. They didn't follow the plans. The plans basically were either straight across or slightly. And they have gone and reconfigured it so that the deck arches up.
Right.
And that puts excess strain on the pylons. And it's actually pulled them in. Yeah, and the whole thing is buckled.
Yeah.
But it's also by pulling the pylons in, it's allowed water into the structure, so it's basically wrecking the structure.
Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, basically, you've gone, council has gone outside of the Building Act.
Okay, any other questions? Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for your report, but just last week, Ken and I came out. The question I need to ask is, are you working in conjunction with the people in Broadwood? Because I have been teaching, I was teaching at Broadwood for the last 5 to 6 years. And I've been working with that same community group, which is June and Peter. Last week we met up with June and Peter Hicks, and also Wayne and Gay Seminole.
So then they are not communicating with me.
Well, are you communicating with them?
Yes, but they are not communicating with me. So if that is, I feel the elephant in the room has come out and done a turd. I am trying to communicate with other people within that community.
I think it's important that you work as one community.
Okay, we're not going to debate this here.
Yeah.
We just need an answer to the question, which is no. Cool, okay.
Yes, I am working with the community.
Okay, cool, thank you. Any other questions? Cool, okay, thank you, Shem. Okay, so just for the board's benefit, I've asked for a report on the ownership of the, I know it appears not being disputed. We actually do want a report on the ownership of the building so we can just go ahead and really support this. So hopefully that'll appear at our next meeting. No, it's all about it. We need an official report from the council, what their voting position is. So we'll get that. Okay, and Willie and Bill.
So Mike, I associated here well to come along as well, do half of the choral, and I'll take over the other half. Okay.
No guitar? No guitar today?
We told you that's fine.
Okay.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Bill Edwards, ko Inglewood. I'm really here to support Willie. I've been involved with Willie for about 4 years, maybe 5 years. What happened was about 5 years ago, Willie contacted us. Part of my role, as well as giving technical and professional advice to councils on heritage matters and archaeology, is also to do public outreach. And Willie contacted us and said, look, do you mind coming along to an event at the high school, and could you please provide some information about the Northern Wars? And at that event, I think Sean was there, and Sean, you got up and had a talk, and there was ex-council members other council members that came up. Anyway, over the years, around in March, around the Battle of Kororareka, Willie has invited me to do these various events. And I must say they've been varied, and I've thoroughly enjoyed them. But what I've really enjoyed is actually the engagement with the kids and the community and learning about what was happening in the area. And to give some examples, one year we had the British flag up in the local high school, and we got a whole pile of, we had a reenactment of what happened on the day at Kororareka, and obviously we weren't allowed a sharp axe to cut it down, so we pushed it down. And actually, as you all know, that is exactly what happened on the final one, because they had steel going up and they undermined it by digging it and pushed it over. So it was actually very accurate, even though it wasn't quite what we had envisaged. And then another year, we had reenactors come up dressed in their full uniforms with muskets, and we had all the local kids there as a tour, and they came marching up, doing a haka, and then these muskets and cannons rang up, and you can see everyone go sharp draw of breath, and then the heads went down and forward they went. And to me, that was just a wonderful, wonderful feeling, because that's what it must have been like. And these kids were in the space. And then last year we did a half marathon and talked also about the history of the airfield. We went out to the airfield, talked about the history of the airport, how it came about, what its story is, and then did a half marathon. And as you can see, I'm not a marathon runner, so I sat on a motorbike and was the safety officer. So this has all been done by Willie and his family on the smell, literally, of an oily rag. It's been done on nothing. And I guess what Willie's here for is to ask for some public funding to go to these events, which are community driven. They're all about enhancing what this place is, and also about the story and instilling pride in people. And as I've been listening and sitting here, I'm hearing about motorbike, kids on bikes and kids doing this and kids doing that, and it all seems to be a very common kaupapa, is that it's all about getting youth involved in doing things. And that's why I'm here, really. I'm here to tell the story of what happened, but also just to support Willie. So, kia ora, Willie, it's your turn now.
In the last 6 weeks, Mike of those council step up towards helping us out. And what I mean by that is we've got the airport for our festival finally. So that's one good plus. Regards to our kaupapa, as you know, Jacinda's putting the culture and history thing into all schools. Yeah? You know when that's going to happen? 2022. What I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is we're 12 years behind this kaupapa. We're 12 years behind. It's the same bloody thing I've been doing for 12 years. And the lines to what Jacinda is putting through schools throughout Aotearoa. Anyway, approximately 12 years back, I brought Kaikohe and Community Marae to Council in response to Council request to the public for ideas to assist country growth for the betterment of our people and our town. John, you might have been there, I think. Molly, you might have been there too. I think John, your wife was there at the time. This meeting was held at the RSA. Over 12 years, our trust, its members and community projects have endured, experienced and suffered personal hardship, disadvantage in many ways and means, being prejudiced against, trespassed and threatened by court action or attempting to refurbish our own league field, oppressed and discriminated against, years of dragging out processes, etc., etc. And I don't mean just council, right? I don't mean you. There's others also. These all, for me, stem from years of colonial rule. That's designed and used by council to deter, discourage marriage to given, walk away. Here's the thing, guys. When I went to the meeting 12 years ago, it was the community board. There. And it's still the community board today. So I'm asking for change. You know? We got a bloody good kaupapa here, and we can work together to make it happen. At the end of the day, it's for our rangatira more. It's not for me, not for you, it's for our kids. To have not one village, two villages. One Māori, one Pākehā. I think it's time, you guys sit around and put some positive ideas towards this kaupapa. As I said, we're 12 years behind the 8 ball of what Jacinda is putting into play. Two cultural historic villages side by side, representing and sharing the statement, our chief is for all Kiwis. Kia ora koutou.
Say there, Louis. Any questions for Louis? Sorry. Willie.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I know we talked about the application, but you've had the application for long. And at the end of the day, everything's still the same. I'll make a call this weekend, Bill and I, whether the first is going to go ahead. At this stage, it's not, because of COVID-19. So all funding projects like today will go towards next year, 2020.
Thank you, Willie, for your application. I think the question I was going to ask was that first, whether it'll still go ahead. Obviously, it probably won't. Secondly, I'm not sure, and look, I'm prepared to go out with Catherine. I'm not sure whether you've completed this application fund properly, and I think we should look at completing it properly or doing it properly.
Sorry, when you first addressed the application, you said it was flawless. You won, and Laurie was the other. Now you're saying it's not?
Pardon?
Sorry. Yes, you did.
I came out. I came out to see you about 5 years ago.
No.
Okay, right. This is not debate. This is just a question. Right. Any further questions for Willie? No, Willie, thank you very much.
Kia ora, guys. Thank you.
Okay. Now, Cabby, this is the end of public forum. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, take one. Let's get ready for lunch.
Okay. All those in favour?
Aye.
Right. Let's have 10 minutes. And we'll see you back here at 1:45.
Have you got a minute?
I think.
Yeah, I'll move.
Can we just wait for our live meeting to continue? Casey? I just want to thank you. Thank you, Casey.
Okay, are there any, back to the meeting started again, are there any corrections to the minutes?
Oh, we're on that.
No? Okay, in that case, all those in favour of the resolution, the Kaikohe-Hokianga confirms the minutes of the meeting of the 3rd of February, as to agree. All those in favour? Anybody against? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, so item number 6.1. On page 19, can I have a motion, please?
I'll move this.
Okay, so member Moko Tepania moves that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board, pursuant to Council's road naming and property addressing policy number 2125, name a private road, Te Mania Drive, that is currently addressed as 5978B South 12 or Highway. Second, John. Okay, John Moko, do you want to say anything?
No.
Okay, anybody else want to say anything? All those in favour? Anybody against? Carried. Okay, page 39. I have a motion for that. That'll be yours, won't it, John?
Yeah, all right then.
Okay, so John Vucic moves that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board, pursuant to the Council's name, road naming policy and property addressing policy 2125, name private road, Timatunga Place, that is currently addressed as 6 Bissett Road. Do I have a seconder? Yeah. John, do you wish to speak?
I've gone past it. There's not 6 houses there, but I'm surprised. So it's interesting to see how the infill is actually happening. Well, I heard though from our infrastructure manager that and the planners that Kaikohe is actually well set up for infrastructure and for growth. So it's great to see that.
Fantastic. Okay, anybody else wish to speak?
I know it's off subject.
That's it.
I liked the background and why they wanted to name it Te Mania Place.
Yeah, I also like the background as well.
We are the beginning of our first major town for the farming. So
Excellent. Yeah. Cool. Okay, all those in favour? Anybody against? Carried. Okay, so we've got the statement of community board fund account on page 60. Do I have a motion for that? Anybody?
I will move that we receive the report of the statement of our fund account.
Okay, do I have a second of that? Yes. Okay, Moko, do you wish to say anything about that? Okay. Anybody else wish to say anything about it?
I just, like we gave some money to the Broadwood show recently. I presume because of COVID it can't go ahead now. That money just won't get picked up or
Oh, I did have a question.
I was actually going to come back to the on that one. He hadn't uplifted it yet, but he's asking if he can carry that over till next month. You'll get that on next month's report, but he hasn't got money yet. They have cancelled the show outright.
Okay, cool.
But it's cancelled outright, it's not going to happen next month.
No.
So the money just won't leave our funds.
No, so that's why I said I'll bring it through in next month's report because it happened after everything here.
Yeah, okay.
And he's requested if he can hold that money or have that money for next year's one instead. And that's up to the board to decide.
Okay, so when the next year is our last year. Is that right now? When do we finish next year?
Yes.
Okay.
Second year.
Okay, great. Okay, Moko?
When do we get our next top up? Is that in
July?
July, and that's the financial year.
Yes.
Yep. So do we need to ensure how much can we have remaining that slots over?
I've asked for a report on that. I haven't got it yet. How are we going with that?
We'd like to encourage our communities to apply to our fund otherwise, right?
So I believe the report's still coming. It hasn't been finished.
Okay, so I've asked for a report that says what of the money that we have access to must be spent this year and what rolls over, so that we will know. But you do need to encourage people to apply.
And from memory, was our funding going to increase what that was proposed in the LTP? Or?
Don't know.
recollection of something. Anyway, that wasn't it.
Right. Any other comments, thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to ask, how do we know that that what we've granted has been spent where it's been spent? There's no report, no one in that last 18 months has come back and said, this is what we did.
Yes, every meeting we have.
Can we get a sign machine?
Yeah. So every month we get a report.
She hasn't put a report on yet.
Yeah.
But there is 3 or 4 reports in the front where people have reported back. I
think there's some today.
There are a number that, like that are still up in the air, and the one I constantly go back to is that one from somebody Love who applied for money.
Smiley.
What is it?
Smiley.
Mr. Smiley?
Smiley, yeah.
Never bothered. We can actually discuss that a little bit further on in my other report if you want.
Okay. That's the one where we have reports.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. That's a good idea. So we've got those coming up.
It'd just nice to know what impact it's made, what progress.
Yeah.
Has the bowling club uplifted their money?
They have now.
Oh.
Okay, so any further comments? All those in favour? Aye. Anybody against? Carried. Right, 7.4. This is Woody Mahi's, I'm sorry, it's the Mahi Memorial Park Charitable Trust application. So I think the best way of doing this would be simply to reconsider completely. So what I'll do is, the first thing I'll do is I will move that we rescind our earlier motion to fund this event.
I had a question.
Yep.
Was it 7.4 because it was 7.4 in the last agenda? Now it's gone 6.3, 7.4, 6.5. Or was it supposed to be 6.5?
I imagine it's probably supposed to be 6.4. Cool. Okay, so I move that we rescind the motion from which month was that? October. Hang on. October to grant Mahi Memorial Parks Charitable Trust $1,000. Would I have a seconder?
Yep.
Okay, so my point is, let's start afresh. Let's have a look at this. If we're going to change it, or we're going to have to rescind it anyway, so let me do that separately. Any other comments? All those in favour? Carried. Okay, so right, do I have a motion to start this in train, please?
Well, the festival doesn't look like it's going to go ahead, does it?
I don't know if we had a look.
I don't know.
Well, he made a mention of it that sort of at the moment it's cancelled because of COVID. So I presume he doesn't need the money that's there already. Although he probably got to some considerable cost, like he had to get a resource consent and all that sort of stuff that somebody else is put in professionally and things like that. So there may be costs associated with it all.
Don't know.
Don't know. Okay.
Okay, so is there a motion to consider this application?
Well, if we've withdrawn it, there's nothing on the books anymore, is there?
Well, no, but there's an item here.
There is an item.
Yeah.
But we were going to give the money if the festival.
I'll move to put it back on the table so we can discuss it.
Okay, right. So the resolution from Moko, seconded by John, is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board, in considering the provisions of community grant policy, authorise the sum blank plus GST if applicable to be paid from the board's community fund account of Mahi Memorial Parks Trust for the costs towards the CHI Festival 2021 to support the following community outcomes: proud, vibrant communities that are health, safety, connected, and sustainable. Right, moved and seconded. Now, how do you want to discuss this? Is there anything as part of this discussion that would fall under the Lagoima Act that you would like to have in public exclusion? And the reasons for exclusion are...
I think we should
free and frank discussion.
Okay, so what reasons would you like to use, Louis?
Basically because we talk about how much funding goes to
No, you can't do that.
Free and frank discussion.
That's normally with officers, not amongst ourselves.
Okay.
You might want to use the one we're going to be talking about a natural private individual, and we don't want that out on public.
Just by the way, we used the free frank discussion last week.
What did we?
Taking a note from that.
Okay, apparently free and frank discussion does cover what we're talking about, but also will include the issue about discussing individuals. So do I have a second of that? Who did that? No, you were. Who moved public exclusion? You did. Louis moved exclusion.
No, I second it.
Okay, all those in favour? Okay, carried. start the.
One moment.
The other thing, the public school, but never mind.
There's nothing else, is there?
No, there's nothing.
Do we have any members of the public who want to rejoin us?
I'll check. Casey, could you start the live again, please? Live is on.
Right. So are there any other?
We're going to pass a motion.
No, we're still, the motion is still on the table. Okay, so are there any other comments that can be made in public meeting about this motion? No others? Okay, so do we have amendment for the amount? No amendment for the amount? Okay, so the resolution will be put with the blank. All those in favour?
Aye.
Sorry. I'll read the resolution so that you know what you're voting on. That the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board, in considering the provisions of the Community Board grant policy, authorises the sum of blank to be paid from the Board's Community Fund account to Mahi Memorial Parks Trust towards costs for the CHI Festival to support the following community outcomes: proud, vibrant communities with a health, safety, connected and sustainable. All those in favour of that resolution say aye.
No.
All those against?
No. Yes.
Okay, so the motion is lost. Okay. To get to look, there's got to be a replacement motion. So my motion is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board declines the application from Mahi Memorial Parks Charitable Trust as being out of policy. Do I have a seconder? Okay, and simply saying, look, I don't believe it adheres to policy, and we've got to give good reasons to override policy, and I can't think of any. So that's okay. Anybody else? All those in favour? Anybody against? Carried. Okay, so project funding reports, page 72. Okay, do I have a motion?
I will second that this evening.
Okay, so the motion on the table, moved by John, seconded by Moko, is the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board note the project reports received by Ngā Pui Hokianga, Ki Te Rahi Incorporated Society, North Hokianga A&P Show, and Te Rau for Te Huia. Okay, any comments? Laurie?
Yeah. Just
hang on, Laurie's going to talk.
Well, I was just going to say, it would be nice for them to come back and tell us what's happened. This is what we've done.
Yeah,
it would be nice to.
Yeah. We've actually asked in the past, even for photos and a little story, and I've even asked when people come in here and asking for the money, do you promise to give us a story? They say, yes, sir, we promise. Well, but while we're still got the money.
See, I mean, the Outward Bound that Mako was part of this morning, it'd be nice for one of those kids to come back here and actually tell us their experience. You know, it only take them 5 or 10 minutes.
I'm sure they'll promise to do that.
No, but that's only an example. It'd be nice for them to come back and say, this is what we did. Like the people that were out that came with all their stuff. It'd be nice to have a photo or whatever. This is what we achieved with the money that you gave us. It would be great.
Even a TikTok, hey, Lauren, even a TikTok video.
To say, you know, and it gives the community board respect, really.
Yeah.
Can I just say that I know it would be great to actually hear from people. I know we made an out of policy decision to fund the Te Rau Te Huia workshop more, I think, for the weaving workshop. But the report back is actually really, it's not just a couple of sentences written on our pre-filled form, and it does include photos, and anecdotally through the Kumara buy, I did hear that it was a real success.
Great.
That they really did pick up skills from the master weavers we don't have.
Well, they did actually say they were going to provide that, so they're here, so that's great, yeah.
So maybe it's a case of formatting things in a way, maybe to try and capture better report backs, but other than that, it's great that these have reported back to us and we've seen that the money was well spent.
Right, Louis.
I was just going to sort of say that, some of these reports come back way past their time limit. just in time for them to sort of go and apply for the next application, you know. And quite often some of these groups, it's not the same people that are rewriting the reports than the people that to put in the application, you know. So they're just going to spout anything so that they can get the money, you know. But we do get some good reports back.
But there isn't a hard and fast rule that they have to make a report.
Well, they've got to make it 3 months within the money being used.
Provide the report within 3 months, and they are ineligible to apply for further funding for 5 years if they have not submitted a project.
Do we have a process where we send them like a ping reminder, like a month out?
The next report on your agenda covers a lot of this stuff, because I've been going through it with all 3 boards at the moment. Sorry, I'm not trying to defer, it's just...
No, that's all right, I can see that.
Okay, right. In that case, all those in favour?
Aye.
Anybody against? Carried. Okay, item number 7.1, community funding and reporting review. I'll remove that. The Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board received the report, community funding.
Yeah, it was a really interesting report.
Okay, so does anybody have any questions for the report writer? And you may as well, while
Do we
she's
have
here.
a list of those 16 and maybe 24 project reports that are outstanding? Do we have that?
Yes, I'm hesitant on the 16, and the reason I say that is there has been varying levels of adherence to filling in the spreadsheet, which is why I am now going through the past 5 years to verify whether or not, because we have some where we know we've got the project reports, they weren't recorded on the spreadsheet, so I'm like, so where are they? So at the moment, me and 2 of our support officers in our team, when they've got time, are going through that. So I'm planning on providing a more thorough report by the end of the financial year, when I can say this is definitely what's outstanding. I can tell you who's on that list and what efforts we've made to contact them.
Because I think we gave money to the Pioneer Village recently, and they haven't reported.
I have got a report, it'll be next month.
Okay.
It came in after the
It was...
Did your neck click when you were...
Yep. Whiplash.
It'll be 5 months.
It came in after the deadline, so that's
In November. All right.
So we've lost.
And that is because you can expect an application next month.
Oh, no.
Wait in anticipation.
The last one hasn't come up yet. It'll come up at the next meeting.
My question, Catherine, is so when no report can be has been received or recorded, or you can't find it across the spreadsheets, you're going to go out and request one be completed. What's the process going forward for all of our applicants? What does that look like, I guess is what I'm saying. So if someone had applied today for a grant and we approved it, they've got 3 months from when they spend it, from when the event takes place. Do we touch base with them again to give them a reminder ding that you got this money?
That's the plan, because up until the 30th of June last year, there were, I think there's 9 pages of different spreadsheets, because things were all over the place, they weren't in one place. So on the 1st of July, I went, I'm not having this, because I'm dealing with all of this and we're not keeping track of it. So we now have a single spreadsheet and a single page in the spreadsheet. So we can now search things much more quickly. We can verify things much more quickly. And it also means that once everything is sorted, I can just go, there it is. That's the information you need. This is how we're going to do it. And it means that I can set up those reminders.
Cool. Well. That's cool going forward. And I mean, 19% over a 5-year period.
This board is the one with the lowest, because your staff have been very good at making sure people have been contacted.
By the lowest, you mean the highest return? The
highest return.
Oh, yeah.
The lowest outstanding.
Yeah.
4 and 5 applicants are reporting back to us, which is good. And it's going to get even better with new processes. And
4 out of 5 are returning their reports on time, or
are returning their reports.
Okay, because
it's like if we can get the reports in first, and then it's like, right, then we can really start.
I would say as a event organiser for the Te Reo Te Tokirau Trust that I'm chairperson of, we do the Ngā Manu Kōrero speech competition regionally and our regional kapahaka competition too, is that sometimes within 3 months we actually don't have our review hui in that time. Then when we finally do, the last thing that me as the chairperson does is I need to get back to this event organiser. So I don't know how we can, I don't know if that's the same for others or it's just everyone needs to boot up the bum, myself included, following events.
But
it's not always the case.
If they give us a reason to say, look, we haven't had all our invoices, that's why we haven't done it, or
there's no punishment for doing it outside time, right? It's just you just don't get more funding if you haven't done it.
Exactly.
I remember when I was a shop owner, right, and I used to pay my bills on the 10th of the month instead of for the rent, right, on the 10th of the month instead of the 28th of the month previously, and nothing was ever said. And so I rang up the landlord one day when I was going to be a couple of days after that, and he says, "Oh, Mike, don't worry about it. He says, you're the person who pays first." And I was already 2 weeks after I was supposed to. So, and I guess it's the same here, right? I mean, as long as it comes in, we don't mind whether it's 4 months or 3 months.
So why is there a stipulation that they can reapply after 5 years, even though they haven't put in a report?
Different people. I mean, you can't hold.
Usually it's much more different people by then, and I mean, you kind of need to put a time limit on. You can't punish someone for something that's happened half a decade.
We're no longer involved. Organisations change. Change.
Especially our way.
So how much longer before they're going to be online applications?
I'm working on it.
But when you get to online applications, are there going to be those boxes where it says attach your financial statement?
It's definitely something we're working on. We can make some things compulsory. It's just how they work it, and I have to. A lot of the team that would be helping me with that at the moment is this little thing called the LTP. So I've sort of got to pinch some of their time when I can, but I'm doing everything I can to try and at least get that sorted.
Some questions, probably more philosophical questions, but they are questions anyway. I just noticed on the, it's a one-page report, I like it, and yes, we've got these categories, community development, events, infrastructure funding. I'm just wondering, should we be thinking, as Te Heku Community Board is doing, and they're putting their own long-term plan together, and their own annual plan, and therefore it implies to me that they've got some long-term KPIs of what they're wanting to achieve. I'm just wondering if some under these categories we should have some measures in terms of what we're trying to achieve in our funding, and maybe that will help us once we're funded. And I've also noticed, like the funding granted by category, you have infrastructure. So that has a permanent, long-lasting effect. For example, if we put something into Tiki Breeze Park, it remains there. It doesn't disappear. And number 9 is that's the community development, which I presume is permanent as well, because that's bringing about change. But you'll see that there's a very high spend on events, and I know we have some event funding, so that makes sense as well. But events tend to be short-lived. They're important, of course, but they're short-lived, and they don't stay after too much longer after the funding is gone. But it all helps the well-being, and we've got nothing really on many of the well-being issues that government is trying us to do. So I'm just wondering if we're probably a workshop, if we start looking at how and what we try to do, how should community boards maybe be operating to be more effective in the future. And the funding granted by type, you'll notice that there's got the lowest one there, which is placemaking. Yet council, I know, is putting quite a bit of money into placemaking in Kaikohe, and they've got a big budget for it. Why isn't that actually being changed through community board? And therefore our delegations change so we can essentially take that placemaking role.
I think, John,
there's a range of questions here.
I mean, I think the money that the council is putting through Kaikohe is, I guess, in a way under our control. I mean, we're the ones that appointed the CEO and the staff to do certain things. I mean, there's the park and there's the road and there's the cycleway and all that kind of stuff. And I think there's several hundreds of thousands of dollars there, and that has all been as a result of community board initiatives. So even though we're not the ones that say pay the check, we are the ones that say work in this area. So.
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with you on that. But if you're looking, someone coming into the area from the outside looks at what community board does, and it's not apparent. And yet the role of the community board is a very important one in my view. So I'm just wondering if there's ways we could actually capture that, because it goes beyond just the funding grants that we're doing today in terms of what we're doing, as you will know.
The thing with Freeze Park, if we don't do something soon, there won't be a Freeze Park to protect.
So if we ignore it, the problem will go away.
Well, there won't be a problem because there won't be a Freeze Park. You know.
Yeah, raw sewage go.
But then it will move up to the pensioner flats.
And you potentially will have services busted, water and sewage.
Yeah, you won't have public toilets, you won't have services. You won't have car parking for all these boat trailers.
That's right. We'll be joining the ranks of our big cities, Auckland and Wellington, for all sewage on the beach. So.
Yeah. Even tell us.
Oh, what was the one up north? Just reach us?
Yeah, there was. Where was it? Something to do with far north.
Yeah, it was in Cooper's Beach or somewhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, Cooper's Beach.
Okay, right. Any further comments related directly to this report? All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Carried. Okay, item number 7.2, and I have a motion. Thank you, Kelly. Kelly moves that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board receives the report.
I'll second it.
I made a facial, I didn't even speak.
Okay, and a second by John. Okay, Kelly, do you have any comments? No? John, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I can have a bit of comment there. I'm going to find the graph I'm looking for. I noticed there on page 98, the number of inquiries to do with cemeteries actually dropped recently, which is a good sign, I guess. But I'm just curious by the number of drops there. Given it's a bit ironic, because I was just thinking that around the world with COVID going rampant, that number's certainly not dropping. So in some respects, we could be really thankful in the position we're in. Yeah, so that's just a general comment there, Chair.
Okay. Any further comments?
Yeah, I've got a couple of comments. Yep. Page 97, to do with the outreach service. They've been sort of bringing the library to the Open Hall, monthly pop-up library established in the Open Hall. What's the story there with the apartment library at the school, which was supposed to be a community library? Does anybody?
We don't have the report writer here, so.
So yeah, I just have a query in that area, maybe.
Just look, I mean, what is the story with this, Malima? In relation to questions about this, can our board members email the CE directly?
Sure, what I can do is see if Chris is online.
Otherwise,
I mean, even if you email Malima about that, then she'll forward it on.
Yeah, okay, I'll try and remember. Over the next page, the Hokianga eyesight, yes, COVID is probably affecting all those sort of things, but I wanted to make a comment on the Mania footprints thing. I went to the show, and it is quite a fantastic product that they're offering. It concerns me that they may go under, hopefully not, because of, COVID, I wonder if there is a backup plan in case something like that happens. There's a public money gone into it. I think Farmers Holdings put in money. I think other groups put in money. I'd hate to see this product fall over because they're not getting the numbers.
I brought that question up with one of the staff there, and they said they may not have had a lot of public there, but they do get a lot of schools.
So they've got a huge
So,
school.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they do get a lot of schools, definitely.
Any further questions or sorry, any further comments?
I'm just trying to think what the one was. I forget, so I'll leave it. Oh yeah, the healthy homes thing. So I was being probably 18 months ago or so that I was pushing for council to start looking at putting in heating systems in pensioner flats, because I had a complaint from somebody living in one that the places were cold, and there's a requirement as tenants, landlords, to put them in. And I tried to see if council wanted to hop on that bandwagon, because at that stage there was a 90% subsidy for getting these heat pumps into people's homes. And I see in here that they have started doing that in the pensioner flats, as well as doing the insulation that is required beforehand. I don't know whether they're getting the subsidies. It would be good to hear that they're getting the 90% subsidy that landlords were getting to put these into houses. So it'd be interesting to follow that up.
Right, any further questions, any further comments? Okay, we'll put the motion in. All those in favour? Anybody against? Gary? Okay, so that's the end of the meeting.
Anything to bring up for the rest of this week?
Yeah, sorry, that's the end of the business of the meeting. Is there anything that is there any other in-meeting business that needs to be taken care of?
Before we close,
yes.
And that goes back to one of our presenters who happens to be sitting here as well. Make a decision with regard to presentation.
No, I think I explained at the time. I mean, they'll let us put an application in, and the sentiment was positive.
So the next question on pretty much all we can do for then is that going to be an issue? Is a delay? I think you representing us would be great, and I think if you can call on those skills that can be great as a director. But is a delay for months?
No, because that will be for our side of things in terms of for Mestas, we can get this process through and put our people through and then follow up on our end after that. I just actually wanted to know if we wanted to formally decide or delegate on who would put on the what is Rachel called?
Okay, so you don't need a formal delegation for
You're already there anyway, so.
Okay, so we can do that informally in our workshop. There's no problems there.
Yeah. Do we? Dave was the community member who came in about the bikes, right?
Yes.
Do we need to go through meeting to say that, well, one of the things that we can do is write a letter to the police from the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board, right? At least we are pushing that side of things through, plus the other advice that went through for the follow-up on there. Does that need to go through this in terms of if we wanted to?
I think again,
put some pressure.
We're doing a couple of things. I'd say let's look
a little bit of
like we have called police in and they spoke to us, raised these issues, so we've done that in the past.
Yeah, but that was motorbikes, that was not push bikes.
It's true. Yeah, and we've also raised the issue last time with the youth and we had that follow-up meeting more than I did, and waiting for an application to come through, presumably. Actually action some of that. So there's a few things actually happening. So
yeah, I mean, well,
I don't know. I just don't want the police to think the police will say, oh, okay, the community are concerned. They've approached the community board. The community board is telling us that they expect some from that side of things.
Okay, so if I said this to you that the reason it wasn't on the agenda was because we didn't know it was going to be here.
Yeah.
And the reason it can't wait is because there's ongoing stuff going on in the community, and another month that makes it unreasonable for us to get hold of the cops. That'd be a good enough good enough steps to bring it to the meeting, right? And then what you've got to do is you've now got a motion. You've got to make a motion.
Yes.
Muko moves that we deal with this matter of supporting the bicycle community concern. Yeah. And then Kelly would second it. Okay, and then we'd all vote on it to say, look, can we deal with it? And then we'd deal with it. Okay, so I mean, it's fairly simple. Okay, so do you want to make that motion?
Yes. I think this
and Kelly, do you want to second it? Okay, all those in favour that we deal with it?
One moment, please. I have to record that. And...
Hang on, Kelly. Hang on, Emma.
So what was the motion again?
That we deal with the issue of the community support of the cycling issue. Community board support of the cycling issue brought by David Kofi. Kelly seconds. All those in favour? Right. Okay, so that's the ability to bring it to the meeting. Okay, so now what do you want to do?
I would like to have a discussion.
Oh, okay. So if you want us to do anything, you move it. If you just want to have a discussion as to what we do, then we'll suspend standing orders so that you don't have to have a motion before we discuss it.
I would like to move that the Kaikohe Community Board Chair writes a letter to the Kaikohe Police Station on behalf of the Community Board.
How about we just say that the Kaikohe Community Board writes a letter? Right. That way,
Kaikohe-Hokianga community.
Yeah, that way it's all implied. Yeah.
To the New Zealand Police, Kaikohe Police Station, whatever sounds better.
New Zealand Police, yeah.
That we have concerns around the use of bicycles in our Kaikohe town centre, township, and the enforcement of rules around.
Those are the words there.
Something to that effect.
What do they do?
And I'll second that. We have a discussion.
Okay,
sorry,
right.
the wording again, please, Councillor.
How about you read what you got?
That the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board writes a letter to the New Zealand Police regarding concerns around the use of bicycles in the Kaikohe community.
In the Kaikohe community and the need for enforcement
of its bylaws.
Of its bylaws.
Well,
I mean, it's not just our bylaws there, right? Not wearing a helmet is a bylaw.
Is it antisocial cycling behaviour?
Yes, those words.
Okay, use those words somewhere.
Can I just bring something up that's actually also happening in Ramani? There were 3 fires that were started there. So you've got one at school, one at the recycling, and the other one along that main road. So what they've gone and done, and they've written a letter to the police, but they never got the support. There are 2 people within, that,
okay, so
that group. So I think we need to get all these areas within our.
Okay, so now I'm going to stop you there. We can't, because this wasn't brought up at the meeting. We can deal with it in our workshop directly, but it can't be brought to this public part of the meeting as part of this, because it's just out of order.
Yeah, but it's also something that we.
Yeah, we can do it. We just can't do it now. Okay.
Can we also in that letter then ask them to come back to a workshop?
Oh, let's organise the workshop like that. I mean, things if we start doing that and creating too much of a rod for our back.
Well, could they come and present their right back?
Due to the cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the more letters you get on support, the better it's going to be.
The thing I don't want is the police coming back here and giving us a report like they did last time.
No, but then that's why I say in workshop, not while the public is here.
Yeah.
Right. Something that is just with us.
Okay, so rather than prescribe the letter, and leave the letter and what's in it to me and Moko. Okay, so it's a very, and to use Laurie's words, the less information in the motion, the better. Okay, so what have you got, Panema?
That the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board writes a letter to the New Zealand Police regarding concerns around the antisocial cycling in the Kaikohe community. Cycling behaviour.
Right.
In the Kaikohe community and the need for enforcement of its bylaws.
Laws and bylaws. Okay. right.
Okay, can I then ask a question?
About, as long as it's about safety.
Okay, no, it's not really about that, but it's about juvenile delinquent behaviour, not just happening here in Kaikohe. It's actually happening in the other smaller areas as well.
Yeah, there's a big issue, and let's do that in the workshop.
Yeah, look, okay, all those in favour? Aye. Okay, is there any, okay, so I'm gonna close the meeting now. What we'll do is we'll have, well, you know.
One moment, I'll just get the lights on.